All right, thank you so much for joining us right here on CNBC Africa. It's a special edition on the opportunities that exist in the events scene here in Rwanda. My name is Eugene Anangwe. You can always be part of the program at CNBC Africa, or you can tweet me directly at Eugene Anangwe. Who best to help us talk about this? Makeda Mahadeo, an MC right here in Rwanda. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Also with us is none other than Nice Budandi, co-founder Arthur Nation. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Later on in the program, we'll be joined by Remy Lubega, CEO of RG Consult, to also share his thoughts on this. Let's just first of all talk a bit about the process of getting into this industry. Now, let's start with you, Makeda. What was the driving force? Because many people always say that there are no opportunities in the emceeing sector, especially the corporate sector. What really pushed you here?
Sure. I got into that space from being on the radio and on TV. So before I ever started radio, I was on TV for a short time, and I was interested in this space. When I came here to Rwanda, I started getting into radio, hanging around the station. I got my own show on Contact FM, and I got really into presenting my show, speaking quite a bit. And then people asked me to be involved in the events because they would hear me on the radio, and I guess they liked the way that I presented. I tried it, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
So I just continued to take that space.
Right. In a short while, we'll talk about how now you make money out of the emceeing scene. Let's talk to Nice here. Arthur Nation, just new in the industry as a corporate brand. Talk to us a bit about the need that you saw when you said that we're going to join the industry as far as doing what you do is concerned.
Sure. Arthur Nation may sound like it's new in the industry, but it's been there through different names. I may say we started like in 2012 through comedy nights. We started with comedy, doing events, comedy events. We grew like that, slowly by slowly. And then we started, at first we were being hosted, like Arthur as just a comedian, getting hosted in other events. And then we started doing our own events. It was going on well, and they looked good. We were like, we can even start doing other people's events like the way we do it. And we started like that.
And the choice of actually going with the name of Arthur,
yes,
who's actually been doing a lot in the entertainment
exactly.
scene. What drove that? What pushed that?
It pushed, the brand was there. So to start something that is new and to work with the brand that is already known by people, because the trust is much better with the name that people already know. So like if you say Arthur Nation, people, to put a face somewhere, like this is Arthur who has been emceeing, who has been doing comedy, so we can actually trust this brand. Yeah. So we started like that, and it's working.
And it's working
well
for you.
Yeah.
Makeda, I mean, for you, what has it been like in creating the appetite for corporate institutions, people organizing events to say, it's Makeda we want, apart from just being a radio host back then?
Well, I would have to ask them, but if you ask me, I think some of the things that I try to make sure that I do as someone who's going to host or MC an event is just make sure that I know everything that's going on with the event. So sometimes, that's why I said sometimes I help with the events, because I will work with the stage managers or whoever, even the people who are planning the event, to see how we can make it better, how to make it flow. A lot of times with companies, if they're not event companies and they're just trying to do a cocktail or they're trying to do something, they're not sure exactly which way to go. So sometimes I'll help them with that. I make sure that I'm punctual. I make sure that I'm reliable, because for some reason, people in the entertainment industry have this reputation of maybe not being on time or etc. So I try and make sure that I'm always on the ball. And I think that's why I get recommended to other events. But I don't know if there's another reason why.
Yeah, I probably would have to ask them.
I'd probably have to ask them.
Nice. Talk to us a bit about the notion that actually the entertainment scene in Rwanda is dull. And so there are no opportunities for event organizers. There are no opportunities for MCs, you know. I mean, how do you make it in this industry? Probably that's going to be the question.
I would say that's like a 50-50 thing. You can't say the entertainment industry is really dull, because the way it was like 5-10 years ago, it's not the way it is now. You can blame that on both the event organizers and the people themselves. Generally, Rwandans are so somehow reserved and not outgoing, so they end up not going into concerts and what. But still, the event organizers, they were not giving them something to look out for.
Yeah.
If you look at 2-3 years ago, this Jazz Junction started, the Second Live event started, and other events started. Events that are so coming back. People come and test, they come back, and you can see there's been like an increase. Yeah.
Right.
So you cannot blame it to the Rwandans alone. You can also somehow blame it to the event organizer. You are not giving them something really good to look up to.
And would you say that this is because there haven't been more players in the sector to actually spark the competition that would push event organizers like you to actually bring in their A game?
I wouldn't say it like that, because the event organizers were there all along, but maybe they didn't know exactly what Rwandans wanted. I would put it that way, because if you come and do an event, and next time you do another one that doesn't have any connection with the other one, people don't know, how is it? They don't know how to trust it. But if you do something that is coming back, people trust it. They grow to like it. So
it grows on them.
Consistency.
Yes.
Consistency
is the key. Let's talk a bit about your opinion personally, first of all, as a reveler yourself. What are the gaps that you've seen in the entertainment industry, for instance, in the events organizing sector here in Rwanda?
Well, I mean, like the same as what you both were just saying, you know, there isn't that much, but the industry is growing. I found myself a few years ago saying, you know, oh, I wish there were a bit more things to do. And I hear people saying that even now, oh, I wish there were some more events, some more innovations in the event space, etc. But I don't know if it's because I'm in this space myself, but I actually think that it's growing quite fast, and I think it's becoming more and more interesting as time passes. This holiday season, for instance, there's been so many things, events happening, people trying different things. Some have been successful, some less successful, but they're there. And just like what Anais was just saying, you know, with that consistency, I think even the events that are not so huge now are going to get bigger, or people who are coming into the space are going to make more money and make more of a name for themselves.
Right, as long as they remain consistent and improve on the quality.
Yes. Absolutely.
Let's talk a bit about, you know, the sustainable ways of remaining afloat in this business, because this is a country that, and it's not just in Rwanda, every country has its uniqueness in terms of the seasons, the off-peak season and the peak seasons. How do you remain consistent? What is the trick? Let's start with nice. Because the month of April, for instance, a big part of that month during the commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis, not much usually happens in the entertainment set. So what is the secret of remaining sustainably, intact when it comes to keeping your money in there?
Yeah, I would say that goes back to the content you're giving to the people. Because consistency is number one, but still what you're giving to them. Because even if you're doing more and more, but they're not getting anything, they come for this show, they see, they come for the next one, there's nothing new, nothing different from the last one. The third one, please don't expect the same turn up or the same involvement. So you have to keep bringing something new. Rwandans really want quality stuff. You have, it's the artist you're bringing in, you have to keep the one you brought last time, you have to look for bigger next time, something like that. The quality and consistency.
Yeah, quality and consistency.
That can keep you in the market.
Afloat. Makeda, how do you plan yourself so that you know that the dry season, you will still be okay?
Well, actually, you know, we know each other, so you know that I've been doing some other things as well. So I, of course, host events, but I DJ. And when I'm not doing those things, I do content creation. So, and I've been working as well. So I worked full-time at Innovation Village, where I was doing content creation. Before that, I was on TV. Before that, I was on the radio. So it's never just been that I've only been doing events. And before all of that, I was throwing events with friends. So I like to keep myself busy in many different ways, so that in a time like April or in a low season, I suppose you could say, for entertainment, I'm okay. I can work on other projects, you know what I mean? And that is something that I would recommend to anyone else who is in this space of doing emceeing events. A lot of times it's people who are already in media, so it's not like it's only emceeing events. But if that is what you want to do, make sure that you budget properly, because there are times when, even if there are a lot of events, it's not guaranteed that I'm going to be the one doing the events. So I definitely like to keep myself busy with other projects just in case.
So the keyword here is diversify your portfolio.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
just add on what Makeda was saying.
Yeah.
I've seen it like the MCs. We outsource MCs to different events, and you can see there's this MC they would call, and he comes, he's like, what is the program? He looks at it, he goes with the program. And he's also going an extra mile and be like, okay, this is, I think if you brought this thing from the end, put it in between, because the people that did maybe there are people in the offices, they don't really know what's entertaining, and so you add on something. The next time they will be thinking, they'll be like, the other person is really creative, he adds something. He just doesn't come in to just talk and direct this.
Value added.
Value added.
Yes,
to these corporate institutions. Now let's talk a bit about them, because at some point the lack of many players in the industry has actually affected how much you end up being paid, because they'll tell you, I can still go to so-and-so who will accept what we are offering. Makeda, how difficult or how easy has that been for you in this industry? Quoting your price and then ensuring that you get that you want without being pushed down because the market is small and there are few of you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, actually, when I first started doing events, that is what would happen. A lot of times I would just take whatever was being offered, because I was like, I want to get into this space, you know, and a little tiny bit is more than zero. So I will just do the events. And I did that for quite a few years. And now when it comes to quoting, because I'm working on other projects, because I've been doing it for so long, and because I also do feel like I do bring something to the table, because I make sure that I'm, you know, that I'm bringing value, I do just kind of try and insist on my price. And it will depend on what the event is, whether or not it can be, you know, we can change what the price is. But for me, normally I just kind of keep it one price, a fair price, not too much, not, you know, too low. And so far, I think it's okay.
working.
Yeah,
it's working. So it means you have to first build a brand, build a name, so that you're able to say, this is what I bring on the table. And then if you're not able to afford that, then you're able to still renegotiate and agree to disagree. So then, the corporate institutions, when it comes to putting their money in your events, when you're putting up events and you go with a proposal and say, we would like you to sponsor this or be part of this, brand this event. What has changed so far since, let's say, 10 years ago, today? What has really changed when it comes to how they react, how they respond, to whether they'll take that proposal or not?
I wouldn't say it has changed a lot. It hasn't really changed. The same companies that were investing in events are the same companies that are still doing it. We don't really know why, but they are still the same. But we can say they have increased the way they were looking at it. If they were putting in the number of money like 3 years ago, they have doubled or multiplied by 3 or 4 this time. Where it depends on the number of people. First of all, the number of people you were giving them last time, because now the number has increased, the number of people that go into events, and also the creativity now that we have to brand them. Now we have more options. We have TVs, we have radios, we have social media that has really increased. You're giving them more, and they're giving you more. But I wouldn't say that the number of companies that invest in the industry have increased. They haven't. They haven't
increased. Makeda, those who call you and you know, are they also the same old, or you're seeing, you know, an expansion of the demand for you?
Sure. Yeah, there are a few people, or a few events rather, that I have done more than once, which is always kind of nice. And a few different institutions that have called back, which is also great too, because it makes you know that they were satisfied with your service, etc. But there are a lot of new companies coming into the space. I mean, as we all know, here in Rwanda, you know, there's a lot of opportunity for that. And so the more companies that are coming into the space, starting to have their events, makes it so that they need the service more. So there have been like this year, I got calls from many new companies, some of them that maybe weren't new, but that I hadn't heard of before, that wanted to do an event. You know, now that there is more going on, there's so many conferences happening now and different things. So because of even these conferences, a lot of people want to have side events or things to introduce people to their events. And because of that, yeah, there have been a lot more events that I've been hearing about.
Right. You've emceed at one of Rwanda's pilot or flagship talent shows at Rwanda, Ubuhanzi. And what was said there by the chairperson of the Imbuto Foundation, who's the First Lady of Rwanda, was that the entertainment industry, the arts, very key. We've also heard from the Minister of Trade, who actually said that we can actually leverage the strength of this sector, of this industry, in driving other government projects like the Made in Rwanda, you know, selling Rwanda's image out there. How do we ensure that we professionalize this sector? For those who are still jumping in, what sort of advice or how do we expand? Or how do you plan to see yourself plugging into this ambitious plans of the government of using people like you and the events and the arts to actually drive the economy of the country?
I'm not sure if I would put events into the conversation of the arts, but maybe it can be there in some way. All I know is that for myself, the way that I kind of conduct my business or the way that I do events and stuff, a lot of times people will say, you know, that they were happy with the job, or, you know, if young people ask me advice or anything like that, it'll always be because of the work ethic. So just to kind of make sure that, you know, I'm always doing the best that I can. I don't just say, you know, it's easy work or it's whatever, which is what I say to a lot of people who are in the arts industry. I also create videos, right? So that's my artistic outlet, I suppose. I try to make sure that I'm still learning. I'm looking at what other people are doing. I'm trying to find inspiration while trying to also provide inspiration for other people.
Yeah, you do this as a business or just as leisure? Because probably someone would want to ask the following question, that then do you have a business model in terms of whatever you do, how do you expect to actually bring back the money that you've actually put in before you go back to nice?
Video production or
yes, video production.
Video production is still quite new for me. Yeah. I have done only a couple of videos freelance for other people, but like I said, I was working full-time for a company creating video for them. And so as for a business model for that, it's not quite there yet, but it is a passion of mine. Yeah. And I think it's important that I am still doing it. Right now I'm making videos on YouTube, on Contact Makeda on YouTube, and that is kind of my way to make sure that I'm still in practice and that I'm trying to get better, so that when it does become something that I'm offering as a product, then, you know, people know that they're getting something of quality.
Right, nice. Your business model, how do you make the money?
The way we make money is to stay relevant to the market.
Staying relevant.
We try all the way possible to give different things. As Makeda was saying, if you're calling me for an event, just to do your event, I offer you social media as a plus. I offer you like influencers. I take your event way wide. People didn't know about it, now they're going to know about it. Yeah. So we invent new things every time. Yeah. Every new event, new ideas. Because if you come to my event for the first time and the stage is there, there's a backdrop, the way it's done. You come next time and it is the same thing. You won't be like relevant to the market and all that. We need to come up with new ideas. We try new stuff. So we bring in artists from Uganda or other countries. We learn from them something new, because you have to keep learning. And then we go back to our kids here in Rwanda. We teach them, using the word kids because it's what we usually, but the young ones, we teach them through, like Makeda was saying, through videos. Those videos really, really give back to, because everyone is like on social media nowadays. You do a video, you talk about something, they look at it, they learn. This thing started with like a few artists doing the videos, but now you can look at almost all the comedians, all the singers, they are doing videos on the streets and that, putting out there the content. If they don't get a chance to go on the stage, at least they would shoot a video and put it out there. Yeah. So they are learning from them.
Right.
So it's something that is going on.
Perfect. So we're going to take a very short break.
Yeah.
When we come back, we have another event organizer who will also share his thoughts on this particular conversation. So thank you so much for still being with us. You can always be part of the program at CNBC Africa or tweet me directly at Eugene Anangwe. We'll see you on the other side of the break. All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for still being with us. This is a CNBC Africa special. Our focus is on Rwanda's events industry or sector. You might want to call it that. And we want to know where the opportunities are, where the money is, the challenges, and definitely how those in the sector are actually dealing with this. My name is Eugene Anangwe. Now we are joined by Remy Lubega, CEO of RG Consult, and of course we still have Nice Budandi, who's actually corporate and of course founder for Arthur Nation. Thank you so much for being with us, Remy. Let's start with you because we at least heard from Nice on this issue. You have been in the events industry for quite some time, and you have successfully held a series of the Kigali Jazz Junction. And someone sitting back who has been in the industry and fell off along the way could be holding themselves and their chin and asking, how is he actually surviving? How is he making it in this industry? Spill the beans if you can.
Wouldn't I be bringing them back to business?
Most of you always say we need to keep our cards under our chest.
Wouldn't I be bringing them back to business to compete?
Yes.
Well, I think like any other industry, like any other business, the dynamics are almost the same. It's only that it's unique. It's an industry that is just growing, so there is much attention, and it has had a lot of backlashes in terms of many events have been organized and many have been flopping over a good period of time. So it becomes now an area of observation when you see 2 or 3 people organizing and their events are successful. But I think it's also, we have learned from the downfalls of so many events, and we take precaution. You need to do your market survey. What is it that I want to do? Where do I get these people? What are their trends? And when do they come? When are they available? Those are key issues for an event organizer. You're not going to, you will know very well. I'll give you an example. He never does an event on Saturday.
No.
He does it on Sunday.
So you've known him, you've studied your
because
competition.
We know, because he knows that predominantly 80% of the people who move on Saturday are going for weddings. They can never switch it for anything else. You understand? Unless you really, really have something super that they will miss out for a lifetime. But if it's something that you're going to do twice, 3 months, three times a year, they say, oh, this one I'll forgive, I'll happen on another one. But it so happens that Eugene will get married on that same Saturday. So sometimes you look at the dynamics of the market and say, Rwandans love weddings. They love to go to weddings. Whatever is there at the wedding, God knows, but they love family going to weddings. So you need to respect that. Culturally, you've studied the market, that people dynamics, they do weddings. Okay. So which other day do they go out? When they free to go out and have some good time, depending on the context and the content that you prepared for them. So he knows on Sunday people are chilled out after church. He has never had a comedy show that flops on Sunday. Am I right?
And so, nice, because he says that you've taken your time to do this. Let's talk a bit about now the resources. Resources in terms of the money, the skill power, the manpower, all those that enable you, that allows you to actually go down and do that research. How is it like? How did you build that up? Or is this a one-man person who does everything and decides that, I'm going to go do the research, I'm still also going to book the artist, I'm going to know the venue. How do you do this? Or how does it work at your farm?
I think this goes down to the experience, because we didn't start yesterday. I told you we started back in 2012. We have had really flopping shows. Back then, we were studying the market. We studied the market through actually doing it. You do the show on Friday, it goes like this, people want to go to the bars and what. You do it on Saturday, people want to go to the weddings. You do it on Sunday, it works out because it's a for us, we do comedy shows, they are family events. People want to come with their entire family. And we started like that. So, okay, Sunday works. And then what time then? Because now it's a family show. You do it late, it starts like 8 something, people don't show up. Now we bring it earlier. Like it's a family thing, let's start it at 5, people actually come. And you delay, people go out. Even before the main act comes on stage, they don't care because they have kids, they need to take them home. So through the process, we learn ticking the box like this is needed, this is needed. You can't do this, you have to do this. Until we find out like this is it.
Right.
And there you have it. All you have to do is stay relevant to all those things and give them something new every time, and you have it.
And then you have it in. Remy, let's get back to you here, because honestly speaking, for the time I've been here, I've seen event companies from the region, particularly in Kenya, being hired to come and actually run an event here in Rwanda. We've seen that. We know of that. It is not a secret. But rarely have I heard of a Rwandan event company, purely Rwandan, going to actually run an event in any of the regional member states here. What is missing? What is wrong with us?
Well, like I've told you, it's an industry that is growing. There is no way you're going to get less experienced people, take them in a very competitive market to showcase or to put up something that is of a professional level. We're just growing the market. And here when I'm talking about the market, it even includes the people we're working with. We are equipping them with what event management is. You're taking the stress, being patient with people, learning, planning, management, and marketing. It's a whole entire process. So as you prepare that lot of people, there is no way you can export, you understand, in a market which already has existence and has been there for a very big period of time, doing so big, huge events, from multinational artists to conferences and all that. But you must also realize that ever since the conference, platform has opened up, Rwanda being a destination for conferences. Now, MICE. Now, there has been capacity building, you understand, which of course is backed up by the metropolitan influence that comes from Sweden, that comes from Australia, Switzerland, and South Africa. When they come and they do something, if you are a very prepared team, you can learn a few things. You can do affiliations, you can do corporations and all that. Right now for us, we're like RG. We're all over Africa through proxy of franchise. So if our franchise person we have in West Africa is having a client who is executing an event here, the team doesn't have to fly to Kigali. You understand? All they do is to send us an itinerary, and one director comes down here. The team will find the team set. If I have a local client who wants to execute in Zimbabwe, and I have a franchise in Zimbabwe, I contact my franchise partner in Zimbabwe and say, okay, my client is coming there, so I send just 2 people to go and execute on behalf of me. That's how business is done. Just like you're having now Volkswagen here, you understand? You don't have to bring the whole crew of Volkswagen here. You build capacity locally and put the franchise and assemble, and people will drive the car. Same product, same brand, you understand, and the same at a better price.
Right, at a better price.
Exactly.
I think I like that idea more. So what are the key ticking points in terms of challenges, bottlenecks, when it comes to policy, because the role of government is to actually create the right environment for any business to thrive. And Rwanda has actually been ranked 29 globally in the doing business reforms. How have these reforms catalyzed the growth of the events sector? Or how has it not catalyzed?
This is a very sensitive question. Because if I go with being honest, all the time I've done events, all this time, I've seen more limitations than more like help, actually, facilitation. I've been forced to do my events indoor. I can't even start thinking about outdoor, because I know it will go over time, and then my event will be closed, or the noise, something like that. So that's the limitation. When I think of an event, when I think of creativity, I have to think indoor, and sometimes indoor, the one that is soundproofed, something. That's the big limitation.
It's a big challenge.
Because there is some creativity that I'm not using in my events. And then sponsorships. I don't remember being sponsored by the government directly to to bring an artist or something. So far, that's what I'm saying. But you never know it will happen. But on the other hand, there have been some improvements. If you look at the summits that have been happening this year, or like the Youth Connect and some other events, they've been trying to end the summits with concerts. That's some support to the entertainment industry, because now people have been serious doing summits and what, and then in the last day, there's an event being organized. The event organizers are getting some money out of it, and the artists are performing, so that's something that is good. More of the biggest events that happened have been doing that, and if it's something that is going to continue, that's something that the government is doing to give back. Yeah.
Good to give back to the industry. Remy, I'll ask you the same question without repeating it.
Why are you asking me that question?
I think
Your thoughts. I mean,
Yeah.
Let's just
I
accept
think-
that.
Or is it your franchise? Are you?
Well, we are partners. We're in the same industry, so we face the same challenges pretty much. For sure, I think there is. I think we have not also organized ourselves in terms of lobbying, lobbying as a team for the industry to grow. In most cases, you have some alienation in terms of who will do an event, who doesn't do an event. I don't know if it is intentional or not, but my bait would be look at the capacity and understanding and skills of each of the players. Consolidate those strengths, you understand, to enrich, because we are not going back as a country in Rwanda. We have chosen to be the destination of conferences, meaning even in 2020, the biggest Commonwealth event is happening here. If we are not ready on 2020, we shall have foreign companies coming here to do what we also know can do. We have done this. I've done Chogam back in Kampala before, big in a big way. I didn't need a Swedish guy to come and tell me to do how to do ABCD. You understand? But what happens is that when you do not have that consolidation of who is good and who can execute and strengthen them and build that ability so they can spring it over to everybody within the sector. Like for actually at RG, for me, my methodology is equipping the team. I don't run the show alone. It can never be. With events, you cannot. You just drop and die.
collapse.
You understand? Because the amount of stress just goes on and on. You understand? So you need to invest in a team that can and equip them, and then they own up and they make sure that they do this as their own. Right. So when you have built that capacity and you have given people a platform and the knowledge of how to do things, and they are doing them in a professional way, they are articulate, they are detailed, they are, it will just be a plug-in and play, and it will invite other people and international people who are convening conferences to even bring more business here, because they will not have to travel with a lot of things, with a lot of crew, because that's an expense. Yes. You understand?
So if they know that you have it, they just come and club
exactly, and that's the trickle-down effect on how, if you make it an involvement. So that would go to the Rwanda Bureau of Conversion Bureau, that you do not need to pick so and so. No, look at their ability. Look at the success stories from people who have scratched from nowhere. You understand? And they have built something that convenes people on a regular basis. You understand? There must be something that they are doing that other people are not doing, and you supporting them, coming to them on the table, putting them part of your team can only be a plus. It can never be a minus. It can never be a minus.
So as it becomes a plus and not a minus, Remy, we've heard recently how now there is this new dawn on how the entertainment industry, especially people with talent, is now being seen as part of the components that actually the government needs to to spearhead its development agenda.
Yes.
We've seen pilot, talent search competition at
Yep.
Rwanda being spearheaded by the government and other players.
Yes.
That actually this is no longer an issue of just going to entertain people, make people laugh and be happy. This is something that can actually move the country even forward.
Yeah.
How is the sector getting ready or readying itself to actually play this very important role?
Well, to be honest with you, the initiative is great.
The initiative is great.
However, I don't know what the plan is after the search, because that is very, very, very vital in any industry. I'll tell you the truth that the music, arts and performance industry thrives on largely, yes, there is a government input, but there is a capacity which you need to entrust the private sector to have confidence to put money, like record labels. Because a record label will sign up 3 artists, make them stars, and they trend across the world. As they're making the money, they're also taking the flag. Now, as you bring talent together, you understand, the talent and the quality you're putting together, have you consolidated it to a way that the private sector is going to see it as a reactive business to put money? Because after you've chosen Nice, he's a very good singer.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
Nice has to go record,
Yeah.
he has to look good, he has to do videos, he has to market himself, he needs to have a team. A team. So
Yeah.
Nice himself as a brand employs another 20 people indirectly, because of his talent. And therefore there is a trickle down. Now, as an investor in a record label, I'm going to sign 2 Nices. Those are 40 people I'm employing indirectly by proxy of investing money for Nice to record and be marketed.
Yeah.
So as you are doing that, there should also be a plan of getting the private sector look at this as a very, very reactive business. So because for them, they're business oriented. I'm putting in money. What will I get out of it as a businessman? So before I set up a studio, before I do a record label, I need to look at how much Bruce Melody is being paid for a gig. You understand? If Bruce Melody is appearing for free all the time, I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
I won't bring
wait a minute.
Yeah,
However talented he is, so wait a minute. So what is this all about? I mean, and there are those ones who have really tried taking the risk, okay, and they found that it is not their kind of thing to do. Not necessarily because it's not a good business, because that trickle-down channel of whatever is not yet as profitable.
And earlier on, Nice did mention the fact that the corporate companies that have been sticking with them from the time they started this, the numbers have sort of been the same people.
Yeah, because
same
it's perception. It's
Yes.
perception. I mean, people need to wake up. People need to wake up. We have a lot of corporate companies that assume they know. You understand, and they do not want to venture into new areas or arenas. I had a conversation with one guy and says, "Well, we're a bank, we don't think music, but at the end of the day, their jingle commercial is done by artists." So I was trying to connect the two, and I was not understanding. But that's the explanation he's giving. But it's a perception thing, and I'll tell you that companies that have tapped into the arts and have invested in the arts or in the artists spring and make much more noise, which we call visibility to their consumers. They emotionally touch your consumer. And when you touch the consumer, your consumption, of course, you're top of mind for a consumer to select you off the shelf or buy you or purchase your product. And this does not come by just because you have the money to spread around. No, it's because you have attached yourself to a product or a service that touches the customer and his aspirations.
Right.
So if companies all think this way, and they say, okay, if because Rwandans love music, I'll tell you the truth, they love their music, they love their music, but for the industry to grow, then the corporate companies in the private sector need to change the way they think and the perception. When they do that, it will automatically come up.
Change.
We've seen it in Nairobi. In Nairobi, it was the same case. So you had a lot of talent that was stagnant until the telecoms came in. They changed the ball game. The banks came in. They changed the ball game. Now it's the internet companies that are changing the whole ball game. The same in Uganda. The same happened in Congo. Go to Tanzania. You understand? Diamond becomes big because of Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola signed Diamond to do 250 shows locally in Tanzania in every sub-county. We hired Diamond at one event at $3,000. After signing the Coca-Cola, it was, I think, a $250,000 US deal. You called him and say, if you don't have 20,000, I'm busy.
I'm busy. So how do we change this?
I'm busy.
How do we change this and ensure that we are the same way, the countries that Remy has mentioned are? I mean, how do we attract this kind of hype here in Rwanda that corporate companies are running to you, to your events and say, you know what, nice, we want to be part of that, and not just the usual people who've been behind you?
I think we are actually doing it. I think we're doing it. For starters, we are being consistent in the...
But it's a snail pace.
Yes, it is. No, but we have to be creative.
Yeah.
I can't speak for others.
Yeah.
I can for sure tell you that Remy is doing a great job with the Just Junction. And whenever a client is on board, whatever he gives him, if you have like a company and you're there, seated there, you see whatever he's giving to the client during the show, before and after, you can really want to be part of it. So if we keep doing this, I have hope that in 1 year or two, it will be something.
The same with Saka.
Yeah? You guys, going on here.
I mean, you need to give credit where
Yes,
it's due.
yes.
I mean, getting 6,000 people
Yes.
in one at a go,
Exactly.
Yeah.
just because you have few people on stage there throwing a lot of jokes, some good jokes. I mean, in this country, it doesn't come easy.
It doesn't come easy. And there's been this perception as well that people attend these events because they don't have any other option. I mean,
The options, I mean, you don't be lying.
No. I mean, this is not me saying this. I mean, this is something
There is
that I've had.
CNBC,
Yes,
there's
yes.
CNBC, watch CNBC.
Yes.
There is Super Sport.
Yes. No, if they want to
Buzz.
go out.
Yeah. No, the options are there.
Like when I'm talking about the quality of event organizing, because
Talk
you
about
can go
quality.
to an event and the sound is not that good and yet people are there. It's full.
Actually, vice versa has really changed over the first 5 years.
Yeah.
And I need to give it up to visionary guys who have invested in equipment.
Yeah.
Back in 5, 6, 8 years ago,
Yeah.
you could not, when you think about an event, you have to think out of Rwanda in terms of production.
Yeah.
One option to look at.
Yeah.
To look at. And if he's busy, then you have to go to Nairobi or Kenya to have equipment. But people have stepped up their games. They have really stepped up their games. There is enough equipment here in Rwanda now to do even 3 big, huge events without even
On the
looking.
same day.
On the same day, same time, without looking. And I give thanks to those guys who are I mean, it might be costly to them. They might not be bankrolling well, but that credit has to be there. That was a vision, and I mean, it is perturbing. It is always perturbing to plan something good or good content, and then you're like, okay, now I need to import so and so. I need to. You already have maybe the artists to import. That is a whole stress.
Yeah.
You know how artists and their egos are and stuff. So, but now that production is here, it is now up to us to create content. You understand, that touches Rwandans. And not only Rwandans, but the people living in Rwanda. Because if you only bring Rwandans, then it becomes a Rwandan affair only. They might get bored, and then you miss out on the other part. But you need to look at the whole dynamics of who is in Kigali or Musanze or Ngisenyi. What do they want? If I put A to B to B, do I get the people in that inbox? So once you put that into play, and you have the right production. Production is here. Yeah. Production is here. It's pretty much here.
Yeah.
There is nothing you can do a super tactics or whatever, but production, basic production, professional.
It is here. You can actually be able to do that. Nice. Earlier on, when I asked about the options and people saying that, we take what we have on the table. The reason I asked this is because much as we have people coming to Rwanda for these big events, the perception has always been that, so after the events,
what happens
next? Where do we go? How do we ensure that we are providing consistent, quality, and good packages for these people who are coming for these conferences here in Rwanda. This is an opportunity that is there for you guys to take. How are you planning to take it? And don't tell me we're taking it, we're doing it.
No, we have to be creative. As
Yes.
Remy said, we have to keep learning
Yes.
from these people that are coming from outside. They're doing things here. We have to learn from them, and we have potential, and we have to keep creating new stuff. I can look at. I keep going back to Just Junction because it's been consistent and all that. He brings in an event. He brings a person from outside that will bring out people. He brings a Rwandan artist, puts on. Because a Rwandan artist may not get that crowd, but now he's giving that person that opportunity, like a stage to shine at all those people. And after that, that's a package he's giving. After that, he's been presenting a before the event, meet and greet. He gives an after party. That's a full package. He's supplying jobs to something like 4 venues. The bar that will take them before the event, the place that will be selling and everything during the event, and then another bar after that. That's a full package. Now it's up to other people to look at that and be like, okay, how about I'm like a company that does tours. I come on board and be like, these people, to give like, to extend this after the event, the following day, I'm putting on like something, I'm taking all the people to come somewhere down there at Akajira, something like that. So it's up to them to come and make it like a continued something that it's continuing.
Up to them to come.
Yeah.
Do you think it's up to them?
I mean, yes, Nice has talked about, particularly, I don't know why he's on Just Junction.
Yes.
But that's a good one. But what he's trying to say is that we need to think out of the box.
Yes.
But still, sometimes, Eugene, trust me, when these conferences are happening, sometimes there is a bracket. There is a bracket that so for example, when there be huge conferences coming, it is sometimes too red-taped. You understand? That even thinking outside the box of having a number of the delegates get into something which is not very formal, it could be very informal. I don't know if you understand. So sometimes the thinking gets too rigid to allow flexibility for creative minds that like ours who are good enough to think and gives this toned down, content to these people for them to adventure.
So what would it take to be able to?
Well, that's the conversation I'm telling you that they need to bring people on board. They're not only conference people who are organizing conferences, but look at the talents of people who are successful or doing things or have tried to do things at a level and standard and professional of the niche they are looking at. You understand? Make them part of this whole thing. I mean, some of us have these brilliant proposals. Some of we put them on brilliant proposals, but sometimes, they
don't get life. Right.
That's your words.
Those are my words. And now over to you for your words. Nice, I'm going to start with you.
Yes.
In closing, the future for you as a company that is in the events industry, what are you going to do to ensure that, because we spoke about those that have been there before and are no longer going on, how do we ensure that the next time we're having this conversation, we're not talking about Arthur Nation as in past tense? Yes, but in a progressive manner. What next for you?
What's next for me is to stay relevant. I have to keep creating new things, provide new content for people, and keep learning, studying the market. I have to see what the Rwandans want. I have to give them what they want, and even think for them, give them what I think they want, and keep learning the market and giving them something new.
So not yet time to think outside of Rwanda? Not yet.
For now, the only way I can think out of Rwanda, I've been trying it, is to bring in Rwandans bring foreigners in the country, work with them, and then that way, when they think of something, they will also take my people. Something like, we've been exchanging those things. That's the only way I'm working on right now.
Perfect. Remy, what next for you? How do you remain consistent?
Well, for us, we've started the journey. The president always kept saying, think big. Think big. It doesn't cost you to think big.
Yeah. I see.
Those are not my words. And we picked the inspiration from him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a wise man.
Yeah.
He's a wise man, so you need to listen to the wise man.
Yeah.
That's the beginning
That's
of
the
wisdom.
beginning of wisdom. Yes.
So we've thought big, and we want to take the flag away. We've opened up in other countries for sure, through franchises and stuff. We're doing, for example, Don Moen right now. We've signed him up for the whole African tour. But the beginning is, I'll tell you that Kigali Jazz Junction has given birth to Da Jazz Junction and has been given birth to Lusaka Jazz Junction. You understand? Because of Kigali Jazz Junction. So there is a flag.
So you're scaling up.
Scaling up.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of on the other platform, we've also done now, because of the city of Kigali still, because of the Jazz Junction, we've started what we call the Kigali Praise Fest. And out of Kigali Praise Fest, we've done Kampala Praise Fest, and we're doing also Lusaka Praise Fest and that other kind of thing. So, but why is because he taught us think big, and whoever is whenever we are bringing in that, like Don Moen from the US, we give him a profile on the spectrum of what we've done in the country and what we plan to do on the continent, and of course through other recommendations that we do in terms of how have we plugged into other avenues which are not specifically concerts or events, because for us we are all around. For right now, we have a platform which is RG Tickets. Wherever you are in the world, we can sell your event. You go online, you buy a ticket. We don't have to be there.
Yeah.
We don't have to be there. Eugene, tomorrow you tell me you're starting a workout scheme and people have to buy tickets online.
So they
you come, you create your event on our platform.
Yeah.
You start getting your revenue of your tickets. I don't need to be in even your workout. So that.
And what's the business model there?
The business model is on the go.
Yeah.
It's on the go. You pay by Visa. You pay by.
And then you get
my percentage.
Your percentage.
Of, yes, exactly. Because we have now created a database of who our clients are, and we know what they want. So when we suggest an event, they'll pick interest. So we also look at the dynamics of how interested. I'll give you a very foolish example. While we were doing, we saw the activity online. While we were doing Mbilia Bell for Jazz Junction, we had a lot of traffic of people who were buying Mbilia Bell. But when they went online, they saw Mbilia Bell and they were seeing Don Moen. So you had two people buying tickets or both events.
Yeah.
You understand? At a go. You understand? What does that tell you? That actually there is interest in events as long as the content is
relevant
is good and good. Yeah, you understand now. How convenient are you to the client? Does he have to move all the way? Does he have to let him find it on the comfort? Right. You understand? On the go. So very soon also Seka Fest is going to be, we're going to have Seka Fest online. So he doesn't have to go into printing tickets and lining up and it's all cake. It's a cake. It's all gone, and the world is moving, and that's where Rwanda is. So we need to move with the trend.
We need to move with the trend. What a perfect way to end this conversation. Thank you so much for making time. And also on behalf of Makeda, who had to leave and create space for Remy, thank you as well for that.
So I was not meant to be here.
Thank you also for watching and being a part of this conversation. Definitely you can always still rewatch this again and again on our social media platforms. We'll see you again. And of course, my name as always is Eugene. Anangwe. Goodbye for now.